The breach alarm had been screaming for 47 minutes when Core finally tore through the sealed bulkhead. His claws, designed to rend armor plating, made short work of the twisted metal. Behind him, 3 more alphas from the Kethran Warpack waited, their breathing apparatus hissing in the vacuum-touched corridors of the dying transport ship. Life signs. Core growled into the comm, affirmative. 7 Cubs. Compartment 7 Delta. The scanner operator's voice crackled. And one other. Unknown species. Core's ears flattened against his skull. Unknown meant danger. Unknown meant potential threat to the Cubs. The precious cargo they'd been escorting through the neutral traverse when the pirates struck. The Kethran were apex predators on 17 worlds. Their empire had conquered systems through raw might and tactical brilliance. But their Cubs were their weakness and their strength, born helpless and requiring 2 full cycles to reach even basic mobility. The 7 in Compartment 7 Delta represented the future of 3 noble bloodlines. Core shouldered through the emergency door, weapon raised. What he found made no sense. The compartment was a disaster. The life support console sparked and smoked, its screen shattered. Oxygen cylinders lay scattered across the floor, some empty, some with their valves manually cracked open at precise intervals. Emergency medkits had been torn open, their contents organized with desperate efficiency across every available surface. And in the center of it all, surrounded by 7 sleeping Kethran Cubs who should have been dead, was the human. She was small. Laughably small by Kethran standards, barely reaching Core's chest even if she could have stood. But she couldn't stand. She sat slumped against the wall, her primitive pressure suit torn in 3 places and poorly patched with what looked like pieces of a sleeping mat and medical tape. Blood, red, like the warning lights, stained the makeshift repairs. Her face was visible through a cracked helmet visor. Pale, lips blue, eyes closed. Sarah? One of the Cubs mumbled, stirring. Sarah cold. The human didn't respond. Core moved quickly, his scanner sweeping over her. The readings made his blood run cold. Severe decompression exposure. Hypothermia. Oxygen deprivation. Blood loss. By every measure his scanner provided, she should have died 20 minutes ago. Get medical here now, he snarled into the comm, and bring thermal units for a human. His second-in-command, Thrin, crouched beside the Cubs, checking each one with practiced efficiency. All Cubs stable. Healthy. Someone kept them warm, oxygenated, and sedated through the entire breach event. Core looked around the compartment again, seeing it with new understanding. The human had done this. Alone. While dying that he knelt beside Sarah, noting details his warriors I had initially dismissed. Her hands were shredded, the gloves of her suit torn away entirely. The manual oxygen valves required tremendous force to operate. She destroyed her hands, turning them at precise intervals to keep the Cubs breathing. The temperature controls had been locked open to preserve heat for the Cubs while she froze. She'd used her own suit patches on their sleeping pods, leaving her own breeches sealed with garbage. One of the empty oxygen cylinders lay near her hand. Core checked the timestamp. She'd kept herself alive on that cylinder until 6 minutes ago, then shut it off. The Cubs' cylinders still had 20 minutes of air remaining that she'd saved it for them. What? Thrin whispered, voicing what they were all thinking. Humans and Kethran aren't allies. We've had 3 border conflicts in the last decade. Why would she? Because they were Cubs, Core said quietly. The medical team arrived in a rush of activity. Core watched as they worked on Sarah with frantic precision, their scanners screaming warnings. Her core temperature was catastrophic. Her oxygen saturation was near 0. By Kethran physiology, she was already dead. But humans, Core was learning, didn't follow Kethran rules. Pulse, the medic announced, disbelief in his voice. Weak, but present. She's fighting. Of course she was fighting. She'd fought for 47 minutes to keep 7 Cubs alive while her own body shut down around her. Why would she stop now? They rushed her to the medical bay alongside the Cubs. The Cubs would recover fully, thanks to her. The human's prognosis was less certain. Core stayed with her through the night cycle. He pulled up her service record. Sarah Chun, civilian contractor, environmental systems specialist. Not a soldier, not a warrior. Just someone who'd been in the wrong place when the pirates breached the hull dot, or the right place, depending on perspective. The Cubs were brought to see her the next morning, bundled in thermal wraps and chattering with the resilient energy of the young. They climbed onto her med bed, careful of the tubes and monitors, and curled around her small form. Sarah warm now? The smallest asked. Yes, Core rumbled. Sarah warm now. Her eyes opened slowly, confused, exhausted, then focused on the cubs purring around her. They okay? Her voice was barely a whisper. They're perfect, Core said. Because of you. She closed her eyes again, something like relief washing over her features. Good. That's good. What? Core asked. You owed us nothing. We are not your people. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her words were simple. They were babies. What else was I supposed to do? Core had commanded warriors across 100 battlefields. He'd studied tactical philosophy and conquest theory. He'd memorized the strategic doctrines of a dozen species. But in that moment, he understood something that couldn't be taught in war colleges, that humanity's strength wasn't in their weapons or their numbers. It was in that simple question, what else was I supposed to do? When faced with helpless cubs from a species not their own, humans didn't calculate political advantage or alliance status. They just acted. They fought. They bled. They gave their last breath to keep the innocent alive. It was, Core realized, utterly terrifying, and possibly the most powerful force in the galaxy. He placed his clawed hand gently over her small, bandaged one. You will recover. And when you do, the Kethran Empire owes you a debt that can never be fully repaid. Sarah managed a weak smile. Just keep them safe. That's enough. Around her, 7 cubs purred in agreement, their rescuer finally warm and safe, alive as she had ensured they would be.